Guys, I'm back with another video today. So it's going to be Joey's wrestling terms and glossary for wrestling terms. And let's get started because there's a lot of words today. You're going to get bored probably. If you don't like it, get the fuck out of here. Okay? Alright. A blind tag means in a tag team match, getting tagged with a partner to them or without consent. That usually means that the person doesn't know they're going to get tagged, usually leading up to a wrestler turning on them later in the match, and it goes wrong and the other tag team wins. Or, it also means another thing, a tag which an opponent is unaware a tag occurred, leaking an open blindside attack. So, most of the time, the person is going for a hot tag. When they go for a hot tag, the other team wrestler attacks the guy who's on the top, who's on the rope, trying to get tagged in, and then the other two wrestlers start blindsiding the other guy. A blown spot, aka a missed spot, means a final match in a feud leading into a final match with one or more wrestlers into moving new feuds with another person. So most of the time, they end the feud with a last match. Whoever wins, wins. If they don't like it, there's something they can do about it, and they go with a different script and give them a new wrestler to wrestle. And sometimes they wrestle the same wrestler in another feud again, but sometimes that doesn't really happen. A blown up means to become exhausted during a match. So this is usually at the 10-minute mark. The 10 minutes of the match, they start sweating, their face gets red, and they get fatigued, and that's when the match gets slower and the wrestlers get slower, and they have to end the match more quickly. This might be funny, this might not be funny to you. It's not funny to me, but the next word means gonzo, means a ending of a tag team match, and the other party underdoes the match and is ended by the referee cannot restore order, ending up finishing the match of a DQ. So when a match starts off with both teams attacking each other, and if the referee can't stop them in the amount of time, he has to call a DQ and end the match because he can't restore order and he could get hurt by the other wrestlers if he tries to stop it. So that's why it's called that. We should all know this. This is a booker. A booker means to determine and schedule events of a wrestling card. So like Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, NXT, any wrestling show in general, and also pay-per-views. Boom, boom, boom. A match nearing the end by competitors performing their signatures. So when a wrestler starts using signatures, the match is almost over. So if a person uses their finishing move, they're going to win the match, and that's the result. Sometimes the other wrestler can reverse, use their finishing move, and win the match, but that doesn't always happen. A B-show means a middle and lower level talent of a wrestling promotion. So this is usually the middle of the card. This would happen in the middle of the night, like hour 2 of Monday Night Raw. And they would wrestle. They would usually wrestle before this. They would usually, they would wrestle during that amount of time in the middle of the card, like hour 2, and then the A team, like I said before, will be before them, which would be the last thing of the night, hour 3. B team means a wrestling A team talents on a different show to test to a new market of wrestling. So sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. I think it is where they get together and see what happens. If it works with an A team, with the bigger guys, and a B team with the smaller guys wrestling each other in the middle of the card, and they see if it works. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. I've said this word in class before. Good guy, bad guy, face, heel. A baby face means who is heroic and cheered by fans, commonly faces against the heels who are the bad guys. And this is commonly used in wrestling for multiple years. If you don't know that, you're not a wrestling fan. And you're totally don't know anything. A brat down. or a beatdown. Sorry, not breakdown. Why did I say that? I mean, a beatdown means an angle which a wrestler or performer is in one side being sometimes brief, false, coming back, being lured, or compromisingly positioned by a group of wrestlers. So this usually happens after the match is over, and the bad guys come in, attack the good guy. Sometimes the good guy gets help, and sometimes he doesn't. And they start attacking him because they hate him. And he gets the beat down, and the angle's over most of the time. Unless if it's a feud. Which keeps going on and on and on. G-cycling. This is a term you might not know, and most of the time nobody knows this, because this is talking about older wrestling. Gig cycling means absolute practice user in territory which television tapes distributed to stations with a promoter's territory. So this was back in 70s, 80s, and 90s, where they would put their shows on tapes, and they would give them to the territories of where the promotions are. That's not big anymore, but they were big back then. That was when WWE wasn't big, and they had a different name, the WWF, and a lot of other companies were just as big as them. Bleeding, aka juicing, gigging, or getting the color. Blading means a wrestler intentionally cutting themselves to provoke bleeding to sell the opponent's offense. They don't use bleeding anymore. They don't cut themselves anymore. That was just specifically the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Now they use time capsules, which time capsules are little sticks that have fake blood in them. You use for vampires if you're using a Halloween costume, like dressing up as a vampire. But they don't usually use bleeding anymore because it's PG. They want to keep it PG. No swearing. No boobs and tits. And other stuff like that. So they don't use it anymore. Sometimes you see it, but not often. Okay, the next word is botch. Means sometimes using a move, scripted or spoken line, which does not go to as planned due to a mistake. And I've seen this a lot on WWE TV wrestling recently, where they say something wrong during a story and they get in trouble by Vince McMahon about it. Or they mistake a move, which can really hurt somebody. And sometimes they do get hurt. And sometimes it could lead to death or even injury or being paralyzed the rest of your life. I've seen it before. I'm probably going to see it again because I watch wrestling so much. Next is Brett's ropes. Brett's ropes means the second rope of the wrestling ring. The middle rope, named after the wrestler Bret Hart, which is a wrestler who wrestled in the 80s and 90s with his brothers, the Hart Foundation, and he used the middle rope as to sling off and use the clothesline. It goes like something a little bit like this. Brother. Brother means a term used by Hulk Hogan. Most people don't know who Hulk Hogan is, but they probably do. If you've seen WWE TV recently, or you've seen it the past 10 years, you know who Hulk Hogan is. He's a guy who wrestled in the 80s, 90s, and partly the 2000s, who got in controversy with the WWE for saying the N-word. He said the N-word, he got his Hall of Fame taken away, he got it back for being good, and he won the world title a couple of times, for a couple of years, and that's about it. Bumps. Bumps means to fall flat on the mat or ground. This is common wrestling. You see it every time, every show. Buried means the worked lower by fans that are not going to get a push to win a title bout, getting squashed quick in matches, to sell to better wrestlers, no sell, or no kick out of a pinfall, falling a flavor in the company, and demoted to unpopular performer or gimmick. So this is usually decided by Vince McMahon if he doesn't like the story or gimmick or the person or whatever that person's doing as a wrestler. He doesn't like it. He goes back to the drawing board and he gives them another story, which most of the time he leaves them to the side and they don't wrestle for a very long time, which pisses me off because they got 100 wrestlers they can use and they don't use them correctly. And that's why Vince McMahon sucks. And that's my point of view. If it's not your point of view, I'm not condoning what I said, but that's what I want to say about it. Business means professional wrestling instead of professional or sport. It's not a sport. It's not professional because it would have to be like UFC or boxing to be professional. So it's a business. And Vince McMahon makes a lot of money off of it. If you don't like that, get the fuck out of here. Bust open means to start bleeding, usually from the head after being cut with something like a chair. And typically not always after blading. Blading usually comes first, but sometimes they do it after the chair shot. That's what that means. Anyway, guys, did you like that video? Did you think it was too long? Post in the comments if I should do it again. And if you want to know how long I've been watching wrestling, I've been watching wrestling for 7 years. And that's why I know so much. Thanks for taking the time to listen to me for about 11 minutes, going on 12. Sorry there were so many words today. A lot of words in that alphabet of wrestling. Haha, lots of them. A lot today, probably a lot next week. But anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.